I listened to the Phantom by Ontario shore. I heard the voice arising, demanding bards. By them all native and grand, by them alone can these states be fused into the compact organism of a nation. To hold men together by paper and seal or by compulsion is no account. That only holds men together which aggregates all in a living principle, as the hold of the limbs of the body or the fibers of plants. Of all races and eras, these states with veins full of poetical stuff most need poets, and are to have the greatest and use them the greatest. Their presidents shall not be their common referee so much as their poets shall. Soul of love and tongue of fire, I to pierce the deepest deeps and sweep the world. Ah, mother, prolific and full in all besides, yet how long barren, barren. Of these states, the poet is the equable man. Not in him, but off from him, things are grotesque, eccentric, fail of their full returns. Nothing out of its place is good, nothing in its place is bad. He bestows on every object or quality its fit proportion, neither more nor less. He is arbiter of the diverse, he is the key, he is the equalizer of his age and land. He supplies what wants supplying, he checks what wants checking. In peace out of him speaks the spirit of peace, large, rich, thrifty, building populous towns, encouraging agriculture, arts, commerce, lighting the study of man, the soul, health, immortality, government. In war, he is the best backer of war. He fetches artillery as good as the engineers. He can make every word he speaks draw blood. The years straying toward infidelity, he withholds by his steady faith. He is no arguer, he is judgment. Nature accepts him absolutely. He judges not as the judge judges, but as the sun falling round a helpless thing. We're almost done here. I know we got a loud noise in the back. As he sees farthest, he has the most faith. His thoughts are the hymns of the praise of things. In the dispute on God and eternity, he is silent. He sees eternity less like a play with a prologue and denouement. He sees eternity in men and women. He does not see men and women as dreams or dots. For the great idea, the idea of perfect and free individuals, for that the bard walks in advance, leader of leaders. The attitude of him cheers up slaves and horrifies foreign despots. Without extinction is liberty, without retrograde is equality. They live in the feelings of young men and the best women. Not for nothing have the indomitable heads of the earth been always ready to fall for liberty. Well, that poem goes on in both before and after that. It's about 20 sections. I read sections 9 and 10. Well, I want to tell you a little about my own personal history. I am, as of about 5 years ago now, it has been, since 2003, I have been a declared candidate for President of the United States of America. I decided I had to take this step back in March of 2003 when George W. Bush began the war. I decided I had to take a stand against the war and against George Bush. I did take a stand in a course in introductory classroom in introductory linguistics at the University of Montana, where I was at the time a full-time adjunct professor of linguistics. You may consult the remaining residual news reports about this on the internet by Googling me, Dennis Holt, and putting in either Montana or perhaps the names of the local newspapers that carried these articles. The Missoulian in one case, that would be the Missoulian for April 1st, 2003, and the Independent of Missoula for April 10th, I believe it was. That was based on a formal interview and so on. On the 23rd of March, 2003, at the weekly Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Missoula, Montana, I announced my candidacy for president under a Peace Corps banner, whatever that might look like. This is not a Peace Corps banner. This is, as I say, this is another sort of poetic idea that I have. But I was, 40 years ago, a Peace Corps volunteer in Bolivia, and during that period of more than 3 years that I served in South America, certain ideas came into my head that perhaps it would be a great idea that when we returned Peace Corps volunteers got settled back here in the United States, we made something out of our common background, our common experience in mostly third world countries, as representatives of the United States government, and of course as representatives of the people of the United States, to make a political movement back here in the United States based in peace and constituted of the various members of the Peace Corps, I think it was civilian service again. And to this end, I have, since April of 2006, been organizing what I call the Peace Corps Epenthesis, which constitutes essentially, or is constituted essentially, of myself and another man, Dale Lowry, who in fact was not a Peace Corps volunteer, but nevertheless very sympathetic with our understandings and our causes, as my vice presidential running mate, Dennis Holt and Dale Lowry. And surrounding us is a coterie of perhaps now 35, I think it's minimally 40 people now, who have accepted the labelings, the titles, and the future functionality of secretaries in such a future cabinet as we might put together, ambassadors to various countries and so on. And this goes on cobbling itself together as we make ourselves better known through the various media possibilities, this being one of them. You're experiencing this now. Currently goes directly through the agency called pt.2. And we plan to do this every week. There was a sign here which has been, where'd that sign go? There it is. We're going to call this this particular sequence of commentary and music and so on every week. Orphic Koans Teriyaki tacos. This is the actual name of a projected autobiography of myself, but actually it's still in piecemeal form all throughout all the tacos. Anyway, some years ago, that's some of the traffic noise there. We knew we were taking a chance when we came out here, but
yeah.
maybe you'll be able to read our lips a little bit better. This name was used for a 10-month sequence of happenings that Richard Falco, who is in charge of intelligence and also has been designing some political party ideas under the name of the Referendum Party. Richard and I, back in New Haven, Connecticut in 2001, 2002, ran a monthly happening every final Friday, which I labeled the same name we're going to use for this show. So in some sense, this is a continuation of those happenings that we did back then. They were quite various. We had music and poetry and talk and conversation. I have one other thing here that I had tucked into the Walt Whitman anthology here, a $2 bill, which most of you should realize bears the portrait of one of our most important presidents and founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson. And on the back, the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I had this tucked into the Whitman book on purpose to remind us of the president and the poet and the relative relationship between them. The poet as the common referee and the president as the president. Here's another Tom. This is a really neat book that I found in the downtown Santa Cruz Library last week. This is by the radio talk show host Tom Hartman, whom I can highly recommend to you. He appears here in our local area in Santa Cruz over KRXA 540 AM from 9 to noon, and that time slot is live, and so wherever you are, you can tune in accordingly. This book is cartoons, and it with lots of text accompanying, well, drawings, I guess you can consider cartoons, and explains all the kind of things that have been happening crazy in this country since 2000. Everything from the 9/11 deal to militarism, voting, all kinds of things covered in this, and very user-friendly, very reachable kinds of ideas here.